Hey, Danny,
Yo,
I got the count here.
it's all there.
It's only $40.
You're saying the count is
The
short?
count's short. It's supposed to be like 100,000. I've got 40.
Bro, I got a 30 on my waist, chopper in the trunk, and a 50 on me. I'm ready.
Fuck. I couldn't. That the fucking
This is a
WB-40.
tennis ball cannon for my dogs.
Yeah, I know. That's when I saw that. I was like, "What the fuck was that?"
Dude, how funny would it be if I actually pulled out a bunch of real weapons? You'd be like, what
Yeah,
the
and I'm
fuck?
like, "Whoa,
Oh my god. All right, I'm taking these off now.
that was good." Yeah, I can't do this, Tenzin.
That's good shit, man. What's going on, everybody? Critic and the Common Man here, and as you just saw, the count is short. Watch out. Chris, we are here with our, I almost said Tudor review. We're here with our review this week of The Tax Collector. Shia LaBeouf coming in. We did a trailer review of this one a little while ago. Really excited to watch this movie, and I'm glad we did. I just want to let you know before this, for this review, I got a tattoo across my entire chest. I felt like it was worth it. I just wanted to make sure you knew I was committed to this podcast.
What does it say? Is it just our logo?
It just says Creeper, and it just goes across my entire
okay.
chest. I really felt
Yeah.
inspired by this.
Yeah.
All right, man. So The Tax Collector. This one had a lot of publicity for a while. Of course, Shia LaBeouf was a little bit under the gun for his portrayal of brownface, as they were saying. He was, playing a Hispanic character here. I guess.
Was he Hispanic?
I don't know.
Because I know there are definitely white kids that get involved with like that sort of like gang life. That are treated as family.
He was definitely pulling the accent a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, but that could just be from growing up.
True.
I mean, if he was being Hispanic, I didn't buy it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't care either way. You know what I mean? Like, it's Shia LaBeouf. It didn't bother me. I mean, maybe that's, maybe I'm not the person to like say whether it bothers me or not, but it didn't like bother me at all. I just,
Yeah.
You're right. I don't even know if he technically was supposed to be Hispanic in this. It doesn't really say either way.
Yeah, and with a name like Creeper, like we don't even know why he got that name. Like it could very well be like he got that name for being a white kid that kind of was, like we don't know.
Yeah,
I really don't know.
I was actually pretty stoked to see this one when it came out, and we kind of got to watch it on like the early access Amazon Prime video kind of thing. Like it was nice. We got to see it fairly early, so this one's still pretty fresh. What'd you think of this? I mean, expectations coming in. Again, this is one that we did a Tudor review on, so we knew a little bit about it going in. How'd you think it held up? Do you think it was as good as or better than the trailer made it out to be, or was it worse?
So the trailer definitely made it seem like it was going to be this like huge action-packed movie. This I did not expect a vengeance film. Not only did we like care for the main character, which also the trailer also made it look like the main character was going to be Shia LaBeouf, and it totally wasn't.
100%.
Yeah, I think the trailer was playing off the fact that it was Shia LaBeouf and they were using his name to sell the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I didn't expect to like the characters like we did. Like the first 10 minutes we're just seeing this family guy.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's just going about his business, and then he gets into his car, and then like his whole demeanor changes and he goes into like business mode. But no, man, like I think the trailer made it look worse than it actually was. I enjoyed the movie. It's heavy. It's a heavy movie.
Yeah, it was a heavy movie. Oh, this will be an interesting review then, because to be honest with you, I actually didn't enjoy this movie as much as I thought I was going to.
Really?
The plot, I thought, because when we watched the trailer, I remember thinking, this plot seems pretty generic. It doesn't seem that different. Like, this seems like something we've seen before. And then, honestly, as we were watching it, I was like, oh, this is pretty dope. Like, these two guys are, like, the enforcers, these tax collectors for this, I guess so. I'm assuming their gang or whatever it was, they work under, like, the head bosses, who would be, like, Wizard.
Yeah, the
right?
Wizard.
So they worked under Wizard, and they were supposed to go around and get their 30% of all their, like, dealers and everybody that they kind of were under their umbrella. So I was into the plot, and I was down for that, and I thought it was pretty cool. But I mean, a lot of things in this one I honestly thought kind of fell flat. And like you said, 100% agree. In the trailer, I thought that Shia LaBeouf was going to be the main character of this.
Mm-hmm.
And like, not only was he not the main character, but dude, he spoiler alert, if you haven't, if you've been with us, by now all these reviews contain spoilers, but here you go. Yeah, not only did I expect him to be the main character, but dude, he dies like 60% of the way into this movie. Which I did not expect at all. Like
I didn't either. Yeah, my mouth dropped when I saw it. I was
like, damn, I did not expect Shia LaBeouf to get killed off like that. That was, and I thought that was a mistake, actually. One of the notes I have here, and we'll just jump right into it, was, dude, I feel like this movie underutilized Shia LaBeouf a lot. Like, you didn't really see his character doing all that much. Like, he kind of goes and strong arms a couple guys, and he's holding the gun in the dude's mouth. And the parts that he was in, I was completely on board. I really liked the movie. And then as they got attacked and Shia got taken, like Creeper got taken and then eventually killed, like, dude, once Creeper got killed, I was kind of over this movie. Like, it was like sad and more powerful at that point, but I feel like for a movie that had Shia LaBeouf in it, it was kind of underwhelming, like what he actually did in this film.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of their mistake for leaning into Shia LaBeouf because, again, the trailer made it seem like he was the tax collector.
Definitely.
Like, it's not, because, I mean, the tax collector really was the wizard. And the trailer
more so
kind of
David,
made it
at
seem
least. Like, even if not,
Yeah.
like, the wizard was, but it was more so David who was like the boss, kind of running things.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not how they made it seem at all in the trailer. In the
Agreed.
trailer, it was like Shia LaBeouf was the one calling the shots. He's the one that wanted the blood. He's the one that, was doing everything. And it's not how it was. He was sort of like the background guy who was there, like, if shit popped, or if shit hit the fan, and never really happened until, 60% into the movie, you're right.
I wasn't.
And I think if you're using Shia LaBeouf as, like, the selling point for the movie that's based on, like, Hispanic gang violence, you're already doing it wrong at that point.
Right.
Like George Lopez was in it. I don't know. It
was a strong Hispanic cast. I will say the only person whose acting I was kind of in and out with. I wasn't completely convinced by it. Was the guy who played David? I was like a little bit. I don't know if I was like completely convinced by his acting in this one. I really liked all the supporting. Lead? Yeah, the lead. I wasn't like 100% in with his acting. I liked the supporting cast. I liked his wife, his kids, their kind of family. I was okay with that. And of course, I like Shia LaBeouf because he's Shia LaBeouf. I thought he was cool. I liked David's story, even though it was dark and sad, but I don't know if I loved his acting in this.
It's funny because I feel like the movie could have been one of two things. If the whole movie would have been about them as tax collectors and then something going wrong at the end, that would have been one movie. Or have the tax collecting and all that be the setup in the first 10 minutes, and then shit's, the thing that starts the movie is the war starting and all of that.
Right.
And then the last part of, like, basically 80 or 90% of the movie is about them trying to get revenge. That would have been a movie. But the way it was set up, it kind of felt a little... It was like two different movies, really. Like, it started, with like all about the business and all that, and then at the end it was a vengeance film. It was violent and all that, and it just didn't fit with the beginning part. I don't really know what they were trying to go for. But I enjoyed it, is what I'm trying to say. Like, I really liked the ending part, especially. I think it would have been better if none of the setup had been there, and I think you'll disagree with me, just from what you were saying. But I feel like the movie got better once the main guy, once David was trying to get out of the life and trying to find his kids and get them out, and all of that happened. I think by killing his wife, they kind of took a little bit out of the film. Like, it was kind of like, well, what now? Like, what could he possibly have to live for at this point other than his kids?
Yeah. Well, to me, they hit like rock bottom once they'd killed Shia LaBeouf, because he'd already lost his uncle, and he'd already lost basically like his power and like his status, and then he lost Creeper, his best friend, and I was like, all right, that's it. Like, now this dude has a vengeance story. Like, now, don't get me wrong, I didn't like the movie as much because I I only didn't like it as much because I expected the film to be about this guy David and Creeper going out and killing people, and it was like gang warfare and stuff. And I liked
it wasn't
their
like that, yeah.
I liked their dynamic, and it really wasn't that. Like you said, it was a vengeance story, which okay. I just didn't expect it to be a vengeance story where they're trying to avenge Shia LaBeouf's character. I thought he was going to be there in the end. Right. So maybe that's my own fault for going in with those expectations. But I get what you're saying. I agree that the plot became much more interesting and more deep once Creeper was killed. I agree that like that half of the movie was probably better in like just what it was doing and where the story was going. I just wish Shia LaBeouf had been there at the end. Like, you know, a lot of movies do this, man. They set up a character that like is supposed to have this crazy reputation, and you're supposed to be scared of them, and like they've built this street cred or these credentials through like all these things that you don't really see, but all the people kind of talk about, and like everyone fears him, and they're like, "Oh, who are you? I heard you're the devil." Well, like, all right, like now it's time to see Shia LaBeouf being the devil,
Exactly, and
like
we never did. Yeah,
you never did, and I was kind of expecting at the end, all right, now we're gonna see the devil. Like they attack him, he's gonna come save Creeper, and now we're gonna see the fucking devil. Like these guys are about to go crazy, and it just kind of took a little bit of a switch. And it ended up being David's story, you know, kind of avenging Creeper and his wife and his uncle.
It's a classic. They showed us a smoking barrel, but never pulled the trigger on it. Like they set up Shia LaBeouf to be this badass, and like he was, but we never got to see that. We never got to see him be the badass. He just kind of played that part and then died.
Yeah, he got killed, and like he went out like a badass too. I mean, the guy like fucking stomped his face in, and he was like getting tortured and stuff. It was so dark, man. But
that was fucked up. Yeah,
that was fucked up, dude.
And then he's like being like the Mayan like god on him, and like that was
that whole character.
Really
what was
heavy,
that guy's
man.
name? The main enemy
Conejo.
guy. Yeah, he was fucking
which
crazy.
It means
and dude,
bunny.
when he was doing that like brujeria or whatever you call it, where he was like spitting at like alcohol on the candles, and they like sacrificed that chick, I was like, holy shit! Like, I don't want to like, I don't know if this is like even fair for me to like ask these questions, but like, dude, you think that shit's going down with like these cartel leaders and stuff? Like, you think people are doing that shit in Mexico and stuff?
I really do, actually.
Oh my god!
I think people are actually doing that because there's this whole push to find your roots as a culture, and there's a lot of gang members that are leaning into the Aztec and Mayan culture, and it's especially the violent side of it. I mean, I don't know, but I guarantee you it's happening. I'm sure.
I'm just glad I got out when I did, dude. That time I was in the gang was rough, bro. But I mean, it turned me into who I was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when you were 4 years old, riding around on those trikes.
That's right, dude. The cul-de-sac gang, cul-de-sac killers. You know what I mean? Cul-de-sac killers. What did you think of? What did you think of the cast overall? So obviously there were some big names in this, and then some I hadn't heard of, like this Bobby Soto guy who was playing David. Some of the supporting actors. What do you think of everybody in their roles?
There were a lot of faces that I recognized from other things. Dude, did you notice Diego was in that?
Yes.
From Umbrella Academy?
I'm glad you said that. I have that in my notes.
Yeah.
I have that in my notes. There's actually a few people that I picked up on. Some of them I don't know if you know or not. Do you know who Brian Ortega is, the UFC fighter?
No, I know of him.
He was the dude with like the long pulled back ponytail who was the like main enemy's guy. Like they went to the restaurant and it was the dude who was like 200 grand short and he ended up passing the money. Yeah. That's Brian Ortega. I like the UFC, so I noticed him. Obviously, George Lopez that you can't miss, and then yes, Diego. Yeah. I thought that was hilarious, man. We just did our Umbrella Academy review, and then we saw Diego in this. The
whole movie kind of gives me vibes of this really old. I want to say it's like a 90s film. Those of you out there who have seen it will probably understand. There's a movie called Blood In, Blood Out, and it is a heavy fucking movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. It is
a heavy movie. It's like a B film. Like it wasn't. I don't think it ever made theatrical release, especially in the 90s. I don't think they would have allowed that. It just kind of shows you what it's like to be in the gang life and also in prison. Like it follows this white, I think he was white, I'm pretty sure, who, goes to jail because of some shit that happens, and then goes to prison, and then in prison he kind of works his way to the top, and when he gets out, they end up like, dude, there's this scene where they drop him on a fire hydrant, like the other gang, like picks him up and they drop him on a fire hydrant to break his back.
Jesus.
And it's awful. It's awful. But crazy movie. Gave me that same vibe though, where it's just like the really dark, heavy things that are happening, to kind of show you what the gang life is like. And yeah, man. So overall, I think the movie was entertaining, if not difficult to watch at times, but I think it got better towards the end once you started to see more character development from David's side. And yeah, and I think they missed the mark on a few things, like with Creeper, with killing him, setting him up to be such a badass, and then kind of just like, okay, he's gone.
Yeah, killing him without giving him the chance to really like show why he's like the fucking devil, dude. Like you're dealing with people that like, I mean, and like he's in the car, right? Like we did the little intro and goofing around. He's like, got a 38 in my belt, chopper in the trunk, Glock in my shoes. I'm ready to go. Like, dude, like you don't set a character up like that and like clearly make him to where he's like ready for war and then not utilize that, man. It's what you said. It's like that smoking barrel without ever pulling the trigger. Like I was just kind of waiting for Shia LaBeouf to do a little more, like actually pull the fucking trigger. And I just didn't really get it the way I thought I was going to get it, and we set it up. And then I personally didn't think that David's character was like a strong enough character, like a little bit with the acting and everything, to then kind of like pull the movie through the end. But I will say, him going to like the Bloods, I'm assuming they were the Bloods, and like doing that gang mashup was fucking sick, dude.
That was epic, yeah.
That was
epic.
The
guy, they were like, yeah, man, we'll fuck with you, like, like I'm with you till the wheels fall off, like that. It was awesome. I knew that was gonna happen. I saw that coming the moment that they introduced those characters for like that 30-second part.
Yep.
And I was like, there was no other reason to introduce them unless they're gonna be in the movie later. And so when he had nobody left, I was like, I bet you anything he's going to the Bloods right now. And then I saw him walking up, and I lost my shit. I was like, oh fuck yeah,
dude, it was just fucking cool, man. And like, obviously, like the gang warfare and the cartel warfare and stuff is like frowned upon. It's scary. It's awful or whatever. But dude, like that fucking code that those guys stick to, like David walks up to that house and they're pretty much ready to like knock his fucking lights out, dude. And then basically he's like, I need to talk to the boss, and he like name drops him or whatever. And then the boss is like, no, let's do it. He's like, I need some riders with heart, dude. And like the boss is like, let's go. And the guys are just down. Like they're just like, all right.
Strictly
like,
volunteer mission
yeah,
only.
Yeah, he's like, this might be it. Like we might never come back, dude. I was definitely hyped up for that. But again, I can't help but think it would have been cooler. I'm not saying it wasn't cool. Would have been cooler if Creeper had been there with him, and he was like somebody who got to kind of show his stuff too. Like I just
like
think
maybe kill him at the end.
Yeah, kill him at the end. Kill him at the end.
Yeah,
for sure.
like it would have been awesome to see him go in with him, and then like take a bullet in the chest or something, and then like oh, you're my brother, and then die. Like something like that. But like they literally just like curb stomped his face, and then like he was just gone.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong, Shia LaBeouf can't play David. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, but like this movie was like authentic enough to where like it had to be a like truly Hispanic actor, and there's such there's so much talent out there in like the Hispanic acting community. We see this all the time, like in all these movies that are coming up, that like they had plenty of people to choose from. I didn't think that this guy Bobby Soto, who played David, was the best, but I definitely think he was good. He definitely had talent. So
he's in other stuff, and I can't remember what it is.
I believe it. I get not having Shia LaBeouf be like the main character, and I was okay with him kind of being like the sidekick dude because he was funny and he was like a cool character. Just think they killed him off way too early, and then ended up having like the best part of the story take place without him. If you're gonna pay big bucks to have Shia LaBeouf in your movie, put him in the best parts of the movie.
I also feel like two things. One, there was something about the kids that didn't feel believable to me. Like these kids are going through all this shit, and then they're just kind of like rushing them in and out of scenes. Like, okay, you go with her. Okay, you go with them. Oh no, they're stolen. Okay, you go with this guy. Like there was none of that like, hey dad, what's going on kind of a thing. Like it just didn't feel like, and it's probably because maybe the kids weren't the best actors, or they didn't want to involve them in too much of the story because of how dark it is.
Right. I think
I understand that, but maybe get a kid who's like 14 instead. That I don't know, it just felt a little rushed with them, and it kind of hindered the story a little bit. But I will say that one of the heaviest and most like the saddest part in the entire movie is when he's like bathing his wife, and he's just sitting in the bathtub of blood.
Yeah, like blood red bath water.
Which
dude.
I was thinking as I was watching that, I was like, obviously it's cool for like cinematography, to like have it be like red water, but like why would you clog the bathtub? Like why don't you just have the bathtub run?
I don't think at
You
that
know?
point it was so much about like worrying about getting her clean as much as it was just like he was in shock, dude. Like his whole
Yeah.
life was collapsing around him, and like he was just like trying to be close to her. I guess that was gut wrenching, dude.
That was awful. Yeah,
That was gut wrenching. But also, why would you ever leave your wife alone in a situation like that? Like I couldn't
Yeah.
help but like feel like that was kind of dumb. Like I was like, dude,
Also,
like,
how did they find her?
well, I think they were like tracking her phone or something. Like they basically like he knew where they all were. I think they were tracking their phones and stuff. But like it was a little predictable. You know, I was like, come on, man.
I
Like,
saw that happening. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, you can't just like leave her, like take her with you where you're going. You know, like they need
Here's
to be
this
with
gun that you've probably never used before.
you. Yeah, exactly. It was hard, man, but it was deep. It definitely was darker than I thought it was going to be in the sense of like just that fucking how many people die that are like close to these characters.
Yeah.
I expected it to be kind of the classic action movie, like classic kind of like gang action movie, and it sort of started out like that. But I will say it took an unexpected turn when it turned into such a vengeance tale, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Didn't love what they did with Shia LaBeouf's character, but it is what it is. It was still an interesting movie. I'm still glad we watched it.
They set up expectations for Shia LaBeouf's character, but
Definitely.
I think the movie still delivered in other ways.
Definitely.
I think that the climax could have been a little better. Like they killed a couple people outside of this like major gangbanger who's like supposed to be straight up from like Mexico, and then like they kill the two people, they kill the girl, and then they just go inside his house and he's just sitting there like staring at his fucking screen. Like there's nobody else in the house.
Yeah,
was-
well, it turned into the thing is once they found out where he was and he matched up with the Bloods. It kind of turned into that classic action movie. Like from there on out, it was like, okay, now we're just shooting. You know what I mean? We're going in and like the classic fight scenes and stuff. It just, like you said, the climax was a little bit of a letdown for me on this, which is kind of why I felt like the second half, even though like plot wise,
Like they didn't even
was-
really like go in like to do a drive by or anything. Like they had all these people, and I feel like they didn't really get used.
yeah, I mean, I agree with that. And also, it's like I also kind of feel like the dude's gang, like David's gang, where were all of them? Like, it was David
Yeah.
and like it was his uncle, right? George Lopez's character. I'm pretty sure it was. It was like
Yeah,
them, and they go, and his uncle gets killed, right? He sees his head in the cooler and all that. Well, like, all right, dude, where's all your soldiers at? Like, you're telling me that was it? Like, it's just you and your uncle?
Yeah.
Like, you don't have anybody else you can call in?
Well,
and,
there
like,
were
go
a
to-
few other people in like that, like when they were all sitting in the garage or whatever that was. But like they all got killed there. But that was only like 5 people. Like you're collecting hundreds of thousands of dollars with like 5 people. Like that's, I don't know.
Well, I just like, where are these people that you're collecting from? Like, those people are all
Yeah.
part of like your gang, right? Unless I'm not understanding the hierarchy. Like, where's all those dudes you were just going and collecting from? Like, you got to have some gangbangers somewhere that can like go and fight for you when something like this happens.
I think those guys were just there for like, hey, we need protection. It's
Yeah.
basically like a mafia situation, like, hey, it would be a shame if something happened to your business. We can keep you safe if you give us 30% of your cut. Maybe not though, because the way it's set up in the beginning, I don't know, man. There's issues that I have here and there. I think this was like a Hollywood version of what gangs are like, and they just took the worst parts to try and make it like, how gruesome can we make a Hollywood movie? Well, this happens in gang life. Let's just put that in there. But then they kind of took out everything else that made it,
I will say the first half of the film where they're kind of setting up everything definitely gave this film. I mean, again, dude, I joke around like I was, a cul-de-sac killer, when I was 5 years old. But like, I joke around like I don't know anything about gang life, dude, and it felt pretty authentic from just somebody watching a film. Like the first half where they're setting up how the business is conducted and how they're
Yeah.
going around getting their cut, and like how messages are being spread from people in and out of prison and stuff. It definitely
the
set up
fucking
some
like
authenticity.
the like thieves' cant that they were doing. He was like,
Yeah. Yeah, dude, that was crazy. They're like doing the sign language while they're talking in case anybody's listening. Listen, this was
"Oh,
entertaining.
my mom's good, thank you."
Yeah, she's
Yeah, we'll be there for Christmas.
Yeah, man. It was super entertaining. My biggest thing with this is that they underutilized Shia. They set up something in the trailer that I was kind of expecting, and then it was sort of a letdown when I actually was watching the film. I sort of was just waiting for that big climax where Shia LaBeouf goes off, and it never really happened. I was a little bit disappointed in that. And then this girl, like this fucking chick who like comes in, and it's like they're joking around like, oh, she's the female you, like, whatever. Like, dude, they
Not
should have
gonna lie,
fucking
bro,
killed
I'm,
her. Like,
I'm intrigued as fuck.
yeah, he's like, not gonna lie, I'm intrigued as fuck. But like, dude, they should have fucking They should have fucking shot her like right away or something.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess they were supposed to be like the more personal and like a little more down to earth people. They didn't want to just go around killing
they were
everybody.
business oriented, whereas
Right.
yeah, their other gang was straight up like out for blood.
Yeah, it was all about like power and fear, like street terrorism, basically. And it's scary because you don't think of, when you think of terrorism, you think of like, 9/11 events and stuff. But like, dude, that like cartel terrorism is very real. Like they're fucking dropping people in acid. They're torturing people. They're, sending people's heads to people in boxes. Like that's real stuff, man.
Dude, you should watch Breaking Bad if you're into that kind of stuff.
I've seen like the first 2 seasons of it. Like back when I was in like undergrad and college, me and my roommate, we watched a couple seasons and then we just never kept going. But I have seen a good bit of it. Okay. I've seen enough to where like I've seen like the scene where the tortoise is walking around with that dude's head like strapped to his back and stuff. Yeah. I've seen some crazy parts of that show, but I never have watched the whole thing.
Yeah, but I'm curious what the ratings for this movie were, because I have mine kind of set in my head at the moment.
I mean, they're not great. The critics tore it apart. The audience was okay. So it got an 18% critic score, which is really low, but a 61% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. So that's a pretty big gap, man. Clearly, people enjoyed this a lot more than the critics made it out to be.
Interesting.
Yeah. So what'd you think? I mean, how do your scores hold up to that? 18 and 61.
Mine is significantly higher than an 18%. That's crazy.
Yeah.
For what it was, I'm not sure if I would call this an action movie or a drama or an action drama. I really don't know. But for this like genre of this like gang violence vengeance film, I think that the cinematography was good. The acting was solid. The story was there. It definitely set it up to be something else other than what it was. I had my issues with it, but overall, I thought it was an entertaining film. I definitely didn't feel like it was a terrible movie. I am going to give it... I was stuck somewhere between a 6.5 and a 7. And I think just judging it based in the genre that it's in, I'm gonna give it a 6.5, but I think it's a strong 6.5. I don't feel like I wasted my time with it.
No, I'm glad we watched it, and I like that score. I'm pretty close. I think I'm coming in a little lower, so I see where you're coming in with the 6.5. I definitely am nowhere near an 18%, but see, where I disagree with you a little bit is I think the acting was a little bit weak in this one. I wasn't fully convinced by David's character. I actually really like Shia LaBeouf, and again, like not trying to be like a Shia LaBeouf fanboy. I really like Shia, but I would say props to him in that he was like one of the most convincing characters in this movie to me. Like, not saying he was like trying to be like the most convincing Hispanic person or anything. That's not at all what I'm saying. I just feel like he was the most convincing as like who he was supposed to be, like kind of this gang member, like tax collector, enforcer kind of dude. I liked his role in this a lot, and I felt like once he died off, my interest in this kind of died off too a little bit. Now,
and that's the
when
problem
David,
with selling the movie with his name.
Definitely. I was like fully expecting him to be the main character, and then that was not the case at all. If he's not going to be the main character, don't sell him as the main character in the trailer.
I'm the devil.
If he is going to be the main character, right? I want that. If he is going to be the main character, cool. Keep him in there through the whole movie, and at least let him be there in like the best parts of the movie where they go and they meet up with the Bloods and they ride and get some vengeance. Let him die at the end. If you want to kill him off, that's cool. Let him die at the end. He had plenty of a vengeance story just between his wife dying and his uncle dying. Creeper didn't have to die that quickly. He could have died towards the end. I would have been okay with that. So I'm glad I watched this one. It was entertaining. It was not nearly as entertaining as I kind of had hoped it was going to be. So for that, I'm going to give this one a 6. A little bit of a letdown just in kind of where they went with the story, but also I will say more unique than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like a very like overdone kind of plot, and I definitely didn't feel like it was super predictable. So this one gets a 6 from me, 6.5 for you, and I think that's fair. You got anything else for this one before we jump into current events?
No, I mean they tried. Like there were some very good scenes, and I will say that the ending with like the last words that he gave to that guy before he fucking killed him, before he bashed his head in, I loved that, where he was like, like for my family I live, for my family I die, and for my family I kill. I thought that was good. I thought that was
powerful.
Like, oh yeah, especially like he's bashing his head in with the. But I did kind of expect that whole scene, where he like, I was like, oh, he's a martial artist though. He's gonna have the flashbacks and everything, and he did. So
it was sick.
anyways,
Hey, real quick. So last little thing. Did you notice Shia LaBeouf? They gave him those like cauliflower ears in this dude. Like,
yes.
And again setting
set
him
up to be this badass.
Yeah, dude. Like setting him up. Like, okay, now not only is he like a gunslinger, like badass gang member, but now he's like he does fucking like jujitsu or wrestling or something. He's got these huge cauliflower ears, and like you never see it. You never see him pull the trigger, man. So that's it. That was the Critic and the Common Man review of The Tax Collector. You can check this one out on Amazon Prime. It came out early release about a week ago, and it's still on there now. If you like that, drop a thumbs up down below. Let us know what you guys think. We're always waiting to hear some feedback in the comment section. Just take a couple seconds, type it up, let us know what you think. You'll get a response from us. We really appreciate it. That's it. Let's jump into current events, Chris. I got kind of an interesting one for you today. I don't know what kind of discussion this is going to spawn. So, in today's current events, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson recently topped Forbes' list of world's highest paid male actors. This dude is everywhere. Obviously, he's been in a lot of stuff. He's going to be in a lot of stuff. Do you see The Rock slowing down anytime soon? Do you think it's justified that he is the highest paid male actor? Where do you think this comes from? Why is he so popular? This dude he's freaking everywhere, man. It's unbelievable.
Do I see him slowing down? Not yet. Do I think it's justified that he's getting paid that much? Absolutely not. I think there are much better actors out there that are capable of delivering a better performance than him. But he's also somebody who I remember watching when he was, like 10 inches smaller on the
both in height and diameter and all parts of his body.
Everything. He, I remember watching him on WWE or whatever the hell it was called back then, WWF. But he did something with, with his acting and his abilities. He kind of built himself a stereotypical character and somehow broke free of that. He's not only in comedies, but he's in action movies. He's in, real roles where he's, getting to deliver, better performances than I think he would have ever done. Like, I would not have expected him to do that, but
I gotta say, dude, he's got some, it's weird. Like he does fit a certain mold of an actor, but he's got like just enough range to where he can pull off this like plethora of these characters really well. Yeah. Because there's other guys that we've seen who are like big. We've seen guys who have the muscle and the size and all that. Yeah. But they don't have like that lovable character that The Rock does. Like he's so iconic, man, not just because he like looks the way that he does, but also because he's like a super lovable guy, and he's a pretty fucking good
genuine
actor,
person.
Dude.
He's a genuine person is what it is.
He seems like it. So get this, dude. It says, this is per Forbes, it is estimated that The Rock made $87.5 million just from acting in the fiscal year ending in June 2020. In 1 year, $87.5 million, dude.
That's insane. That is a lot of money.
We know he's coming out soon in Jungle Cruise. We know he's coming up to play Black Adam. We know he's been in those things. He just got off of a huge performance. Oh, yeah, dude. He just got off of a huge performance in Jumanji. I mean, this guy is, for the last decade, he's pretty much been nonstop.
And only one of those is an action movie.
Yeah, that's true. It's like, how does somebody who's, like, it's weird. Like, why didn't somebody like, Arnold Schwarzenegger make it as big? Why didn't and he did. He was in a lot of things. He was the Terminator. He was in Total Recall, all these things. He was big. But not like this, Cop. Dude. The Rock is everywhere. Like, you see him in everything. He's the face of Under Armour. He's got TV shows.
You would think that as a wrestler, The Rock would have been like iconic back then, but he has somehow become more iconic the older he's gotten, the farther along into his career we go. And I mean, good for him. He's what is he? He's I know he's Maori and Samoan, right? I think is what he is.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
I think that's where all of his tribal tattoos come
from.
Dude,
I've got nothing but respect for this guy.
Same. Absolutely.
I'm not surprised to see that he's the highest paid actor, but it is funny when you start looking at like, it's like actors are kind of in this genre now where there's actors like maybe somebody like Oscar Isaac, who you would say is like traditionally speaking, and as far as range goes, I would definitely say he's a better actor. But then you get somebody like The Rock who's just, for lack of a better term, he's just iconic.
Yeah.
And every movie that he's in, people flock to go see it.
I remember seeing him start to come out in movies, and I was like, why is The Rock doing movies? And I remember not liking it, and then slowly over time, like, I don't even call him The Rock anymore. Like,
Let me ask you this, man. Let me ask you this, for argument's sake. Have you ever seen a movie starring The Rock that you didn't like?
That one he did with Kevin Hart where they were... Was it Kevin Hart where he was like...
Central Intelligence? The CIA
that one. I didn't like that one.
Dude, see, that... Okay, I will say, of all of them, that was probably the most, like, just predictable Netflix movie. But even that one I enjoyed, dude. Even that one I enjoyed. Ever since The Rundown, which is one of the older Rock movies that I can remember, ever since The Rundown, I don't think The Rock has been in a bad movie to date.
Yeah.
And I guess that's probably part of why he's making so much money. But, dude, the guy is everywhere, and he kind of can't miss. He kind of can't miss, man. Like, it, nothing but respect. I mean, also, dude, no way is that dude not on steroids of some kind. I don't care what you say. Like, he's, for how old he is, I don't remember exactly how old he is. That's not all natural.
He's in his 50s, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's not all natural for sure.
Yeah,
but
he's,
not,
you know, he's somebody that he came from nothing, dude. I know that, like, he was broke at one point, and he fought his way to the top through wrestling and then into acting. So you know what? Good for him.
Absolutely, he's as iconic as it gets. He'll be remembered forever, man. He's on everything.
Yeah.
You see him everywhere, and he's just kind of become, for a long time, he's been that household name where if he's in a movie, not only are people going to flock to go see it, but there's a pretty good chance it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm hoping he carries through with the things he's coming out in soon because, again, DC is really doubling down. You know, Universal really doubling down on their characters because casting him as Black Adam couldn't have been cheap. Obviously not if he's making $87.5 million in a year. And I don't even know if he's been paid for Black Adam yet. That might not even be including that.
Probably not.
But he's going to hopefully revitalize that. But that's it, man. That's today's current event. I just thought that was kind of an interesting story to see that he was listed as the highest paid actor of the last year. So $87.5 million. Hey, Rock, we're right here, man. We can use some studio lighting.
Yeah, exactly.
Goes up.
A studio space, like a warehouse space. That'd be great.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice. That's it, man. Let's get out of here. That was the Critic and the Common Man review of The Tax Collector. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like down below. Give us a subscribe if you like what you see. We're posting a bunch of videos. Like Chris said, the count is short. So what do you say, man? Time to go break some elbows and take the chopper out the trunk.
Do you smell that? Do you smell what The Rock is cooking?
Oh, my God. Let's get out of here, man. We're out of here. Critic and the Common Man. See you guys.
Can you smell what The Rock is cooking?
I mean, I smell something.